text and you either do a
Okay,
thumbs
here we
up
are.
or a thumbs down.
Whoops. All right, I got 7:30. What do you got?
And I have 7:30.
Okay, are you ready?
I am ready.
Okay, I am going to declare a quorum and call the City of Groton Mayor and Council meeting for Monday, May 4th, 2020 to order. In response to State of Connecticut Executive Order Number 7B, Protection of Public Health and Safety During COVID-19 Pandemic and Response, per the suspension or modification of statutes dated March 14th, 2020, suspending in-person open meeting requirements. All public meetings will be closed to the public at this time. Public meetings will be televised in real time on Groton Municipal Television, Channel 2, and online. If you wish to address the mayor and council during receipt of citizens' petitions/comments, please call 860-441-4130. Clerk Patrick, please call the roll.
Present are Mayor Keith Hedrick, Finance Director Ron Uhas, Clerk Deborah Patrick, present in the room. Via Skype or telephone are Deputy Mayor Jamal Beckford, Councilor Lisa McCabe, Councilor Reginald Stanford, Councilor Guinevere Depot, Councilor Minerva Ortiz, and Councilor Rashad Carter.
Okay. Those in the room, please salute and stand and salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, recognitions, awards, and memorials. Council, do you have anything?
Nothing here.
Okay, hearing none. I have this is Building Safety Month, so I have a proclamation for Building Safety Month, May 2020. Whereas our City of Groton is committed to recognizing that our growth and strength depends on the safety and economic value of homes, buildings, and infrastructure that serve our citizens, both in everyday life and in times of natural disaster. And whereas our confidence in the structural integrity of these buildings that make up our community is achieved through the devotion of vigilant guardians, building, safety, and fire prevention officials, architects, engineers, builders, tradespeople, design professionals, laborers, plumbers, and others in the construction industry whose work year-round to ensure the safe construction of buildings. And whereas these guardians are dedicated members of the International Code Council, a nonprofit that brings together local, state, and federal officials that are expert in the building environment to create and implement the highest quality codes to protect us in the buildings where we live, learn, work, play, and whereas our nation benefits economically and technologically from using the international codes that are developed by a national voluntary consensus codes and standards developing organization, our government is able to avoid the high cost and complexity of developing and maintaining these codes, which are most widely adopted building safety and fire prevention codes in the world. Whereas these modern building codes include safeguards to protect the public from natural disasters such as hurricanes, snowstorms, tornadoes, wildland fires, floods, and earthquake, which according to a FEMA Commission study by the National Institute of Building Sciences provide $11 million in future mitigation benefits, $11 in future mitigation benefits for every dollar invested. And whereas Building Safety Month is sponsored by the International Code Council to remind the public about the critical role of our communities as largely unknown protectors of public safety and our local code officials who assure us of safe, efficient, and livable buildings that are essential to America's prosperity. And whereas safer buildings, safer communities, safer world, the theme for the Building Safety Month 2020 encourages all Americans to raise awareness about the importance of safe and resilient construction, fire prevention, disaster mitigation, and new technologies in the construction industry. Building Safety Month 2020 encourages appropriate steps everyone can take to ensure the safety of our building environment and recognizes that the implementation of safety codes by local and state agencies has saved lives and protected homes and businesses. And whereas each year In observance of Building Safety Month, Americans are asked to consider the commitment to improve building safety and economic investment at home and in the community, and to acknowledge the essential service provided to all of us by local and state building departments, fire protection bureaus, and federal agencies in protecting lives and property. Now therefore, I, Mayor Keith Hedrick of the City of Groton, do hereby proclaim the month of May 2020 as Building Safety Month. Accordingly, I do encourage our citizens to join with their communities in participation in Building Safety Month activities. Signed this day, Keith Hedrick, Mayor. And to let you guys know, let everyone know, the public and the council know, we have, during this pandemic, we still have construction in the city. We have new construction that has just been completed, and a certificate of occupancy was issued for 58R Warner Street. There's other building going on in the city at the corner of Mitchell and Minor. There's also a house being built at Eastern Point Road near the golf course, and 27 Baker Cove Lane. In addition, for the month of April, there were 41 total permits issued for the month, and there were 25 city-related meetings with either builders, inspectors, architects, those kind of things, in order to work out building issues. So my thanks go out to the building department every day, and just special recognition for Building Safety Month of May 2020. So that's the proclamation. Receipt of citizens' petitions. I have no citizens' petitions that have come in by email, and no one else has citizen petitions. So this is and we have no phone calls, so there are no citizens petitions. Well, actually, let me read this. Receipt of citizen petitions is a portion of the council meeting where the council welcomes comments from citizens. To address the council, please call 860-446-4130. Clearly state your name and address and speak into the microphone. Each presentation should be limited to 5 minutes or less, and citizens should, if possible, submit emailed or written comments. Presentations should be related to matters pertinent to the City of Groton. City councilors will only ask questions in order to clarify the speaker's presentation and can respond during the responses to citizen petitions portion of the meeting. Now, having said that, we have no citizens petitions, so I will move over response to citizens petitions comments. Approval of minutes. I need a motion for the approval of April 20th, 2020 public hearing meeting minutes.
Council Depot, so moved.
Councilor McCabe, second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any questions, comments, corrections to those minutes? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Was there an opposed? Okay, no. Abstentions? Okay, motion carries. I need a motion for April 20, 2020 special mayor and council meeting minutes.
Council Depot, so moved.
Councilor McCabe, second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion, additions, deletions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? And lastly, I need a motion for the motion to approve the April 27, 2020 Committee of the Whole meeting minutes.
Council Depot, so moved.
Councilor McCabe.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Did you get the second?
I did.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Are there comments, additions, deletions, changes? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, motion carries. Communications and reports. Councilor McCabe.
Nothing to
Okay, Counselor Stanford.
Nothing to report.
Counselor Depot.
Nothing to report.
Counselor Ortiz.
Nothing to report.
Counselor Carter.
Nothing.
And Deputy Mayor Beckford.
Nothing to report.
Okay. I want to give you guys a beach report, an update on the beach and where things are going. Actually at the end of last week, we put a lock on the gate and we are locking Eastern Point Beach at 11:30 at night until 5:30 in the morning. We had some unwanted activities that were going on down there, and based on input from staff, I decided to lock that gate. That is locked at night only. Other than that, the beach is open. Now, what I mean by that is we are not in beach season yet, so it is not opened for the season, but people can go down and do go down and sit in their cars. There are people that get out and walk the boardwalk or walk the railway. And this weekend, there were people that were actually out on the beach on towels and in chairs enjoying the beach. The question is, are we going to open the beach for summer like we normally do and sell beach passes and have people at the gate and the concession stand and everything else? And the answer at this time is I don't know. I have not made up my mind. I am working with local municipal leaders and the governor and Legislative Health District to come up with what the right answer is. I'm also talking to the public and talking to staff to try to determine how we can do this. The biggest challenge that we have out there is social distancing. One of the things I observed this weekend is that people don't know what 6 foot is. So people aren't necessarily socially distancing. Another challenge you have is, how do you tell a 3-year-old not to go play with another 3-year-old on the beach? And that is one of our challenges, because there's lots of kids that are having good times, and the next thing you know, you got a whole bunch of construction workers building a sandcastle. But that's problematic. The other challenge we have is some of our young adults don't socially distance well. And so that is a challenge. I have reached out to my attorney to see if we decide to sell beach passes, if I can sell beach passes to residents only, considering the state law that resulted from a Greenwich ruling back in either 2003 or 2008, somewhere along in there. I'm waiting on some information from him. But even if we do go down to residents only, we would limit the number to a manageable number so that you can have social distancing. And the concern that I have is allowing someone to have fun on the beach and access to the beach and go into the water and those kind of things, versus the possibility of someone getting sick and, heaven forbid, somebody dying of the COVID-19. So these are the things that I'm working with. In the next couple of days, I'm going to be putting out a video, and I will be asking for the public's input. I'll ask now for the public's input. If you have opinions or ways that I can do this, there's a potential that if people don't socially distance, either we ask them to leave the beach or we require masks on the beach. So that could be a challenge. Another thing that I am looking at, because it's still out there, is potentially taking temperatures from a distance with an infrared thermometer. Now, I recognize that is, a lot of people are not going to be happy, and infringement of rights and those kind of things, but if it keeps us safe, I'm okay with that. But the other problem with that is you can be asymptomatic, meaning you don't show symptoms and not have a fever and still bring the virus to the beach with you. So that's one of the things that I'm wrestling with. But I am going to continue to work with the professionals so that we can make a good decision. If you have input, you can call the number. It's 860-446-4103. That's 860-446-4103. Or you could email at mayor@cityofgroton-ct.gov. That's mayor@cityofgroton-ct.gov. So that's where we are on the beach report. Other than that, there's not a lot of new information out there. That we now have 17 cases, documented cases that have occurred in the city of Groton. It went from 6 to 9 to 12 to 17 in weekly increments. So that's where we are. We have had no deaths thus far as a result of that. So thank you for staying home. Thank you for staying safe and socially distancing for those of you that are doing that. Okay, committee referrals. Are there any committee referrals? I'm sorry?
Mayor, Councilor Carter here. Can I ask a question or make a statement in regards to what you said?
Go ahead, Councilor
Or is
Carter.
that allowed? What's that?
Go ahead.
So one thing you didn't add, as far as a concern, I would think that if we did not open, say we didn't sell beach passes, there wasn't anybody at the gates, et cetera, another concern, would be that people would go to the beach anyway, because unless you totally shut the beach down, people are gonna go. And people that were there this week, and as you said, so if that were to happen, say we did not sell beach passes, we didn't have anybody at the gate, etc. You would have an influx of people there, but you would also have nobody to regulate it. So, and it would also be a loss of income for the city.
Right.
So I would just highly urge you to consider, as far as selling those beach passes, or keeping the gate open. I think it would be a disservice not to, and I think it would be more heartache to say, we're not going to go that route. I think it would be harder for us to maintain and regulate. That's just something I wanted to add.
Understand. There's a possibility of leaving the beach as it is now. And as it is now, the city has a limited liability. Once the city starts selling beach passes, then and puts a concession stand there, my liability changes. And then therefore we'd have to have lifeguards and we have to have more staff and those kinds of things. The other thing that is in play is what other municipalities are doing. As other local municipalities, even including municipalities in Rhode Island, close their beaches, that puts more upward pressure on the city of Groton Beach if it is open, and if it is unregulated, then people will come in. If we sell beach passes, and even if we just regulated them as selling beach passes, then you have a semblance of control with who you're allowing in. So you're not just allowing anybody and everybody just drives by and say, hey, we're going to go to the beach today. So but thank you for your input. Those are things that we're looking at.
Hey, Mayor?
Yes.
This is Deputy Mayor Beckford. I just had a comment myself. I believe that the state is tentatively opening back up, I think May 21st, and this is based on trends of the spread and severity of COVID-19 in the state. I would try to wait on a decision until we have that kind of information available, and not take off or remove, not closing the beach, but maybe not opening it off the table until that point. I was just reading an article in the day from the CEO of L&M, and he was saying that we're not scheduled to see the peak of, cases until, I want to say, the first or second week of June. So,
Right.
in my opinion, we want to hold off that decision so that we can get the pertinent information available. And I know that might change day to day, week to week, so that's just my input.
Right. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I am not rushing into this right now. Currently stated, beach passes go on sale on the 23rd of May. Obviously, that is after the 20th, which is when the governor has said he is going to start to open. We are closely working with and following what the governor is doing to do this. Now, here's the other thing. If everybody around me is closing their beach, I'm not going to be the donut hole, meaning I'm doing something different with more risk than what everybody else is doing. So you're right, there are a lot of factors, and rushing in is not something we want to do. One of the things that I've talked to the Parks and Rec Director, Mary Hill, is the potential that we may have to push out beach pass sales into June, and then instead of opening the beach Father's Day on the 20th or whenever that is, open it later. Other things that I'm looking at is having shortened hours, start opening later, closing earlier, and if we bring people in and it's regulated, we will limit the number of people that we allow onto the beach proper so that we can have proper social distancing. So there are a lot of factors. There are a lot of things that are going into this decision, and the decision, first of all, the decision has not been made. Secondly, I'm taking this very seriously. This decision is probably one of the most important decisions that I will make because of the potential negative impact should somebody get sick.
Councilor Chase?
Councilor Chase, you have the floor. All right, Councilor
Okay.
McCabe, brother. Where'd that come from? Who? Oh, I'm sorry, Councilor Ortiz.
One thing that comes to mind when let's say we sell the passes, and let's say that we regulate the entrance of how many people in the beach. Now, I get out of work at 3:30, let's say 4 or 5 o'clock, and I have my beach pass, but I cannot get in because there are people there that have been till 12 o'clock or 2 o'clock, so that's kind of on balance.
I understand. There are a couple ways we can go about the beach passes that we haven't decided yet. One is that you could sell beach passes and then you limit the number coming in, or the other part of that is you limit the number of beach passes that you sell and you still limit the total number coming in, but because you haven't overbooked, so to speak, there's the opportunity for more people to have access to the beach that have beach passes. Does that address your question, comment?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other counselors with questions or comments regarding this?
I was just going to add to that. This is Councilor Carter. I'm sorry. That's a good statement that Councilor Ortiz made. I was literally just going to say that. So that's a good statement that she or good consideration that she made. I'm a part of the Beach and Parks Committee.
Yeah.
And we unfortunately we haven't been able to meet due to this COVID thing. And I know this is a big decision, but I would like to see some type of input from the Beach and Parks Committee along with you as well. I mean, there's so many uncertainties. We don't know if there's going to be a second wave of this or anything, you know. So I would beg to argue if beach passes this year may even maybe suspend the beach passes and say we're not going to do that. Maybe it just be a per day, if you get there, you pay the fee at the gate, as like a prorated rate.
Yeah.
Because just looking ahead, we don't want to be in a situation where we selling beach passes and then come July, the state closes the beaches again. It's just a lot involved into this, and I know it is a big decision. It's just I'm just adding just looking ahead. My beach passes might not even be a feasible option this year. Just you have people that come at 8 o'clock at night or 8 o'clock in the morning rather, and they stay all day at the beach. So it's just a lot. So
No, I understand, and I'm going to be talking to Parks and Rec Director Mary Hill tomorrow about communicating with the Beach and Parks Committee and talking to them, one, to catch them up, and two, to see if we want to have a meeting. There have been other ideas that have been floated, which is people can only stay for 2 or 3 hours at a time. I find that problematic because how do you do that? Do you give somebody a different color wristband? I mean, do you stamp their hand? How do you do that? I don't, there are some things that, the one thing that I can be guaranteed of is that the decision that is made will not make everybody happy. That's the one thing that I know for sure. So we're going to do the very best that we possibly can, and we'll go from there. The bottom line is, it's more important to me that we keep people safe than we let people get their feet wet. So, anything else? All right, committee referrals. And we'll move on to new business. Councilor McCabe.
Referral R-20-5-46. Therefore, be it resolved that the mayor and council approve the appointment of Hallie Keeler, 45 Ramsdale Street, Groton, Connecticut, as a regular member of the Board of Ethics, term to expire on February 1st, 2024. I so move.
Counselor Depot seconds.
We have a motion and a second. This was discussed during the committee of the whole. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Councilor Stanford.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Resolution R-20-5-47. Therefore, be resolved that the mayor and council approve the transfer of $13,219.24 to the tax collector's expense tax book. I so move.
Counselor Depot seconds.
We have a motion and a second. This was discussed during the committee of the whole. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion carries. Deputy Mayor Beckford.
Resolution 20-5-48. Therefore, be it resolved that the mayor and council accept a grant award from the state of Connecticut Department of Energy and Environmental Protection and Public Utilities Regulatory Authorities, Public Education and Governmental Programming and Education Technology Investment Account in the amount of $19,269.17 to upgrade audio equipment to the council chambers. I so move.
Counselor Depot seconds.
We have a motion and a second. This was discussed during the committee of the whole. Is there any further discussion?
This is Counselor Depot.
Councilor Depot?
I just wanted to point out, I think that the abbreviation might be, there's a T in the middle that should be a P.
You are correct. PEGPET. Okay, thank you. We will correct that as administrative? Okay, any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Counselor Depot.
Thank you, Mayor. Resolution R-20-5-49. Therefore, be it resolved that the mayor and city council approve the awarding of auditing services for fiscal year July 1, 2019 to June 30th, 2020 to Blum, Shapiro and Company, PC, 29 South Main Street, West Hartford, Connecticut, to be paid from city electric, water, water and sewer general funds. I so move.
Deputy
Hold on
Mayor
a
Beckford,
second.
second.
Do we have a motion and a second?
Yes, Deputy Mayor Beckford.
Okay. Therefore be it resolved. Is that right? 2019 to 2020? I mean, that's the end of,
Correct. That's this audit year.
okay, so we're approving for this audit year.
Yep.
Aren't we, we're doing another one, though, other one, right?
We do this every year for the audit.
Oh, to audit this
Correct.
last fiscal year.
Correct.
Got
We're
it,
appointing
sorry.
the auditor for the
I'm
June
sorry, I was saying for service. So this was not discussed at the committee of the whole. This is something that we do annually, but I wanted the finance director to go through this real quick. So, Ron?
So it's been 5 years since we had put an RFP out for auditing services. At the end of the audit, the 2019 audit, RSM, formerly McGladrey, who had performed our audit for the last 10 years, came to, and they're kind of slowly getting out of the municipal auditing field or services, kind of sounded like. So Scott encouraged that we put a RFP out for auditing services. We received 2 proposals back, both very qualified firms, one being Bloom Shapiro, and I believe you have the bid tabulation in your packet, and the other one PFK O'Connor Davies. So this from an expertise standpoint, they were both qualified, fully qualified to do the audit of the city and Basra. So this bid was recommended solely based on low bid, and you can see they were very close.
Also, just for full disclosure, Bloom Shapiro also audits the town, but we talked to them and they went through their attorneys, and there is no conflict of interest with using these guys to conduct our audit. Okay, is there any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion carries. Councilor Ortiz.
Resolution R-20-5-50. Therefore, we resolve that the mayor and council initially approved an ordinance authorizing the mayor and council to approve increases to retiree pensions up to and including those who retired in 2016 as recommended by the City of Groton Retirement Board. I so move.
Councilor Depot seconds.
We have a motion and a second. This was discussed during the committee.
A couple of committee holes ago.
Yeah, this was discussed at the committee, at a committee of the whole. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstention? Motion carries. Councilor Carter.
R-20-5-51. Therefore be it resolved that the mayor and council provisionally authorize and approve a contract with Hartford Building Company, LLC, P.O. Box 290245, Weathersfield, Connecticut, for the renovations to the Tyler House at Ace Point Beach based on a low bid price of $34,950 and no cents, and added to the contingency for the total expenditure not to exceed $38,445 and no cents to be paid from capital reserve funds. I so move.
Councilor Depot seconds.
We have a motion and a second. We've discussed this in the past. We were going to put this in the list of projects where we were going to repurpose bond money. When the COVID outbreak happened, I talked to Finance Director Uhas, and we decided to pull this out of this year's funds, and we're not going to do it as a repurposed bond, because we've talked to bond counsel, and there's information out there now that the only way you can do bonding now is, one, either to have short-term loans to get your municipality through this, or capital projects that were directly related to COVID, and none of these projects are. So that's why we decided to go with the capital reserve funds. The intent is to get the bathrooms and the hallways and those 2 front offices fully renovated before the normal beach season opens, but now we don't know what that means, but they will be renovated. So that's some additional information. Is there any additional discussion?
This is Councilor Depot.
Councilor Depot.
Just looking at the bids, the discrepancy between the low bid and the high bid is almost $30,000. Were the bids for the same exact amount of work?
Yes.
The answer is yes.
Okay, thank you.
We brought them in, did walkthroughs with them, so that everybody knew what we were looking for, and because we have a long time ago, not recently, but a long time ago, we had some disparities in bids because we were not consistent. But this time, we've applied that as a lesson learned, and that's not the case this time.
So the quality of work we're going to get for the low bid is going to be the same as that high bid. It's just that they charged more for whatever reason.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion?
And I just want to make one
Go ahead.
comment on this. We do have a project completion date. However, based on conversations with Director Hill, she does not want the project to start until all materials have been received. With everything going on, the last thing she wanted was to have the bathrooms gutted, cleaned up, painted, and then say we couldn't get partitions or something like that. So one of the stipulations in this is that before work starts, that all of the materials are in hand. So just in case for some reason something comes up, that could potentially be.
And that makes sense. We didn't want to get halfway through a project and then realize we had to start, and then all of a sudden the beach opens up. So, but right now this should not be an issue. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Councilor McCabe.
Resolution R-20-5-52. Therefore, be it resolved that the mayor and council approve the City of Groton budget for the fiscal year 2020 to 2021. I so move.
Councilor Depot seconds.
So we have a motion and a second. We have presented the budgets to you as the council. There was an executive order that was issued late Friday, Executive Order 7HH, and it enacts the following provisions. It is the mandatory suspension of annual town meeting or referendum to adopt a budget. This clarifies that ongoing forward, the relevant elected body or bodies in each municipality must adopt a budget for 2020-2021 without an in-person vote by residents. It also validates any budget referendum or annual town meeting which has already been conducted. This order clarifies Executive Order Number 7I, Section 13, to provide uniformity and consistency and prioritize safety while the risk of transmission of COVID-19 in large gatherings remain high. So if this council votes in the affirmative, you will be passing this year's budget, and there will not be an annual Freeman's meeting to vote as directed by the governor. Now, as you have noted and has been explained, and I'll explain to the general public, this budget maintains a 4.3 mill rate. So the mill rate is flat. So for the last 3 years, we have lowered the mill rate, and this year the mill rate is flat. So with that, I'll open the floor for discussion. Is there any further discussion?
This is Councilor Depot.
Councilor Depot?
I just wanted to say that, I am really dislike that we have to do this without the Freeman's meeting, without input. However, I have personally, and I know that your office has solicited input. It's been in the newspaper, it's been online, on Facebook, on neighborhood websites and everywhere to solicit input. And I've solicited input in person from anyone that I know that lives in the city, and I have had 0 emails, 0 input at all on the budget, or at least questions. People seem, satisfied with what we've presented in our meetings. So I just wanted to point that out, that, we have worked hard to kind of get it out there and get the information out there. And I have, in several places requested input, and I personally haven't received anything in my city council email. So I just wanted to point that out.
Okay, thank you. And the mayor's office has not received any input verbally, through Facebook, or through any emails. So I agree with you. Is there any other comment by the council? Any other discussion, rather?
Councilor Ortiz?
Councilor Ortiz, you're recognized.
Okay, sir. The resolution is R-20-5-53. I heard 52. Maybe I'm wrong.
5-2.
It is 52.
That is correct. R-20-5-52 is the resolution to approve the, approve the mayor and council budget for fiscal year 2020-2021.
Okay. I'm just reading from my papers, and it says 53, so it's okay. I got it.
No, it doesn't.
Okay? It should be resolution 5-2. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstention. Motion carries. Councilor Stanford, my apologies. Councilor Stanford.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. R-20-5-53. Therefore, be resolved that the mayor and council support the 2011 Baker Cove Trackdown Survey and abbreviated watershed-based plan to achieve water quality standards, including restoring recreational shellfishing for the residents of the city. I so move.
Councilor Depot seconds.
We have a motion and a second. This is discussed and presented at the last committee of the whole. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Opposed? Abstentions. Motion carries. I need a motion to adjourn.
This is Councilor McCabe. I make a motion to adjourn.
Councilor Stanford, second.
We have a motion and a second. We are adjourned. Thank you, council. Thank you, staff,
Thank you.
for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you for everything you do.
Next